Hi, my name is Brian Norton with the In-Data project at Easterseals Crossroads, and today we're going to be talking about the Translator app that's found in Microsoft Office applications like Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, and a few others. So let's go ahead and take a look. So today I wanted to just take a moment to talk about the Translator app that's in Microsoft Word and other Office applications. And so what I have here is I've got Office 365 loaded up on my screen. I've got a document. This is a case study, Lisa. Don't worry, Lisa's a fictitious person. And so if you're worried about HIPAA or anything like that, this is actually a fictitious document that I use for a lot of case studies as we kind of take a look at different apps and technologies. So with this, if I go to the review menu, when I'm in Office 365 again, I go to review. And once I click on review, it's going to drop down a list, and then I can click on translate. There's a couple of things that pop up. The first is if I wanted to take a particular section or a paragraph or a sentence, all I have to do is highlight it over here in my document, and it's going to show up over here in the Translator app or sidebar that comes up in Office 365. And the great thing is, once I have that highlighted over in my document, that paragraph shows up over here. And I've already chosen the English, so it's going to translate it from English to Spanish. And now I have my Spanish version of that. And then I can choose to insert it into my document if I want. If I do that, it's going to go ahead and change what I had and then turn it into Spanish for me. The other thing I can do is with the document, I'm going to go ahead and go back. I'm going to switch it back. So I've got my paragraph highlighted. I'm going to go back to Spanish. Find it down here in the list of languages. There are lots of languages for which you can translate information. And then I'm going to go back to English as far as what I want it translated into. And I'm going to go ahead and say insert. We're going to change that back to English. And then I'm going to go up here and I'm going to click on Documents. Document allows you to do the whole document. And so I want to, again, I always just go ahead and choose the language that it's written in. Sometimes you can have it auto-detect it, but I just want to be sure it gets the right language. And then I'm going to have it change it to Spanish again. That is something we often need to be done here. And so then I'm going to hit translate, and it's going to go ahead and take that whole document and change it into a document that is now all in Spanish. And so I'm going to make that a little bit bigger so we can actually see it. And now you can kind of see that it's changed my whole document into Spanish. And so that makes it real easy to be able to translate documents for folks. I find it pretty easy. Now, I will say translation is sometimes a little tricky, word for word, and it sometimes can mess things up, and maybe it doesn't read as well. Maybe it's not quite as good as having someone translate it as a live person, reading it and then translating it in that way. But it does allow you to be able to kind of be helpful in certain situations to quickly translate a document. So again, that's Translator in Microsoft Word, but you'll also find that in the other apps as well. Well, that's your tech tip for today. I want to say thank you to the Indiana Telephone Relay Access Corporation for sponsoring our captions today. My name is Brian Norton with the In-Data project at Easterseals Crossroads in Indiana.